Hello, my name's Chris, what's yours? Welcome back to Marathon Man, where I go through Doctor Who from the very beginning. You join me for the show's first sequel and for the first companion departure. Ten stories doesn't sound like a heck of a lot, but if we were watching Doctor Who at the pace it was broadcast, we'd have spent a year with these characters. So yeah, 10 stories isn't a lot. But Doctor Who is now in a position to feel the impact of one of its main characters leaving, should they choose to. Susan's departure is what this story will probably be remembered for, and quite rightly, but there are other things that make it stand out as well. For example, as said up top, it's the show's first sequel. Now, the Doctor facing off against returning popular foes, and let's face it, unpopular foes, will become more and more frequent as time goes on. This is the very first rematch our heroes have with a returning monster, and in this case, it's obviously the Daleks. As if there was any other candidate, to be honest. I mean, maybe there's a parallel universe out there where they have instead the Vord invasion of Earth. It's just that, I don't know, I think a man in a wetsuit coming out of the Thames wouldn't have as much of an impact. Wisely, the story doesn't blow its load by having Daleks swoop in from the get-go. It does a good job of world building in the first part, the signs forbidding corpse dumping in the river looking congruous with the familiar setting, and the deathly silence greeting the travellers adds another layer of mystery. London, but not as we know it, and not as we like it. It's a pretty good start to a Doctor Who story. Ian's brilliant line,
"Pretty deserted. Probably Sunday,"
makes me confident that the story we're about to watch is going to be a good one. Terry Nation isn't phoning it in here as much as he might arguably do later. That line is expositional, it's economical, and it's Ian through and through. It's fantastic writing. Admittedly, I could do without What You Need Is a Jolly Good Smack Bottom, but it would feel churlish to dock points from 2023 for a way a grandfather is written as speaking to his granddaughter in 1964. It may not chime with an enlightened society such as the one we imagine the Doctor and Susan to come from, but if it bothers us that much, we can always reconcile it as the Doctor trying and failing in his own lovable way to sound like a grandad. Speaking of enlightened societies, one might not think Earth has done much better 200 years into the future if this serial is to prove prescient, 140-ish now. Taking away the Dalek invasion and how to pot the world has gone as a result, David in particular seems very old-fashioned for how one might imagine a man of the 22nd century to be. Upon finding out that Barbara can cook, he asks Susan what it is that she does. Rather brilliantly, and with another welcome flash of the character's potential, she replies,
"I eat."
I can't wait to see more of this Susan going forward. The Doctor's reaction to the Dump Bodies poster, which is rather matter-of-fact and laissez-faire compared to Ian's, is a nice reminder of the character's time-travelling mindset. Again, it's very well written and then leads into one of the very best cliffhangers. The first scene between the Doctor and the Dalek, which is the famous "you poor pathetic creature" scene, does not disappoint. Everything that has happened to him since he last met them has only made him a more formidable enemy to them. He is the proactive hero now. He flashes defiance in their eye stalks and it is electrifying. To respond to its chanting of Daleks being the masters of Earth with a really casual
"Not for long,"
sees Hartnell now fully embody the Doctor and all of his heroic qualities. This doesn't just promise a rematch, this promises a much bigger and better story, one of those rare beasts, a sequel which surpasses the original. Make no mistake, this is easily the most epic story that Doctor Who has attempted by this point in its life, in both scope and ambition, and in my opinion, it succeeds at both. Just because it's a huge story doesn't mean there aren't lovely little moments to savour along the way. Barbara gives a superbly withering look when first presented with Jenny's rudeness that is so subtle it's barely noticeable.
And while you're at it, sign both your names down for a work detail.
Well, Susan can't work until her ankle's better.
She can do something with her hands sitting at a table, can't she?
The survivors, trademark that Terry, are actually quite an irritating bunch on the whole. David is a pain and Jenny is a sourpuss, so thank goodness then for Tyler. With the exception of Tyler and Dortmund, these characters are such downers to spend time with. Okay, yeah, so they're not having the best time of it. So I know it's too much to ask for them to be all smiles and jokes, but I'm taking that into account. Some of them just aren't likeable as a result. And even the regular characters seem to agree if some of their interactions with them are anything to go by. The scenes with the Doctor and Ian aboard the Dalek saucer are therefore the most entertaining of these early episodes. When in the cell with Craddock, Hartnell shines as the Doctor sets about breaking them out, chiding Craddock for being such a defeatist as he does so. Yeah, you tell him, Doctor, lighten the up. Some pinpoint different stories, but for me I think I would argue that it's this story where the Doctor is finally the fully formed Doctor, and Hartnell up to this point has never been better. Back on the ground when the saucer lands, Jenny is windbagging again, but it's more than worth it for Carol Ann Ford's brilliantly delivered.
Shut up, Jenny!
It's such a good line, petulant yet satisfying. I can't wait to see more of this Susan going forward. Not only does Susan get to kick ass here, Barbara also gets stuck in and starts throwing bombs. And it's moments like this that I truly believe highlight how good Doctor Who has been since its beginning. This is an ordinary Picardigan school teacher from Shoreditch lobbing explosive charges at fascistic alien invaders, and it feels like the most natural progression in the world. We've watched these characters be shaped by all of their experiences that it stops feeling incongruous. One of the recurring themes of this story, understandably, is Susan's desire to belong somewhere. Now, her having never felt like she's had roots has come up before, but here I just think it's better executed. Now, that might be because it's easier to imagine her wanting to stay here than the Scent Sphere, or it's because Carol Ann Ford is selling it a hell of a lot more, knowing what's to come. There are several things that I think you have to mention when you're doing a review of the Dalek invasion of Earth, and they are the return of the Daleks, the departure of Susan, and the location filming on Westminster Bridge. The image of the Daleks in front of Big Ben has become one of the classic series' most iconic images, and it's easy to see why. Watching this story for the very first time impressed the little me because it was Daleks and Doctor Who. Watching it in context as part of a marathon, it still impresses me, with an extra layer on top. The location filming on this story packs such a punch because it is the most extensive location filming the show has enjoyed so far. No wonder it's dwelt on as much as it is. With the stakes raised as high as they are in this story, the characters really do shine. Barbara's already gone all action hero by lobbing bombs, but she ramps it up even further when she mows down a group of Daleks in a truck. And even when she's doing something as air-punchingly badass as that, she remains the same old lovely Barbara.
I'm going through.
We went straight through them! Straight through them!
It wasn't bad, was it? I rather enjoyed that.
Have I mentioned that I love Barbara? She's brilliant in the story's climax too, tricking the Daleks by weaving tales of resistance by using real historical events before risking her life in an attempt to reprogram the robot men. Plus, her impression of a Dalek's voice is adorable.
Man, this is
And while I may love Barbara, it's really the Doctor and Susan who walk away with this story. They get great scene after great scene after great scene, and the actors seemingly raising their game even further, probably because they're both aware of the climax that's to come. Culminating in a scene at the end outside the TARDIS, the Doctor refers to her as "you little monkey." Now that's another moment where I like to think the Doctor is behaving as he thinks a grandfather should, but either way, it's utterly, utterly lovely.
I'd better clear up my cupboard. It's in a dreadful muddle.
Yes, you little monkey.
And leaving her, as he does, is heartbreaking, and they both sell it very well indeed. Hartnell's speech is magnificent and he nails it. It's no wonder it's repeated as often as it is. With the first departure of the first series regular, so many things paradoxically coalesce. The Doctor might have lost his granddaughter, but he has gained so much more. All of the facets of his character now are present and correct. He is now most definitely the hero of his own show. This story had a lot of things to do, and it did them all very well indeed. It brought the Daleks back successfully without feeling gratuitous, even though it so easily could have, and it gracefully wrote out one of the main cast. But it did something else as well. It handed the keys to the show to the Doctor in a way that he hadn't had them before. By the end of this story, I get the impression of William Hartnell as a man energised. 51 episodes down now, and I feel like another checkpoint has been reached. This was a far more satisfying encounter than the previous Dalek story. It was better executed, better paced, and had far more ambition. And it also gave Carol Ann Ford her best material so far. I can't wait to see more of this. Farewell, Susan. Till next time. Whenever that might be.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine. Goodbye, Susan. Goodbye, my dear.
Possibly even the highlight of the whole series up to this point. I'm going to have to go with the Slither. Sorry. Sorry, Slither fans. It's the Slither. Don't like the Slither. Slither sucks. And out of 5? Like its predecessor, like the first Dalek story, it is a 4. But this one is a stronger 4. Maybe I should have done it out of 10. I should have done them 10s. Too late now. It's a 4, but it's better. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed dumping bodies in the river, then please hit the thumbs up. It really does give encouragement on the marathon. And what did you think of the Dalek invasion of Earth? Is it as good as the first Dalek story, or is it a disappointing rematch? And did Susan really want to stay? And will you miss her? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you back here for a rescue mission. If you don't want to miss that, hit the subscribe button, climb that cloister bell, and I'll meet you on Dido. See you soon.